NYPD just released citywide crime stats for November of 2020. Both gun arrests and citywide shootings, they are up for the month, more than 112% from this time last year. These numbers that you see on your screen, they're leaving New Yorkers with a lot of questions. Perhaps the biggest of all, what is being done to stop that crime, and what goals do the NYPD have in 2021 to bring those numbers back down? We are going right to the top to Police Commissioner Dermot Shea to find out these answers and more, and he joins me now live. Commissioner, good morning.
Good morning, Dan.
Hey, thank you for being here, Commissioner, on a very important issue here. Let's begin with the spiking crime, those numbers you just saw and heard. You know them very well. I know you're a numbers guy. What is being done to curtail those numbers, specifically in gun arrests and shootings?
Yeah, I can tell you, every day starts with that for us in terms of curbing the violence in New York City, Dan. I could tell you that, just yesterday, myself, Terry Monahan, Mike LaPetri, Rodney Harrison, and others speaking on this issue. There's a lot of different factors at play here when you look at the gun arrest in particular. Staggering numbers that have been made the last 3 months. 500-600 gun arrests a month, and to put that in perspective, you're talking almost, Dan, 25-year highs, and in other years we never hit 400. So it's good and bad. It's a double-edged sword there, where the officers are out there. They're intelligence driven. They know who's carrying the guns. They're making the arrests. We would argue for some more consequences in terms of, I think that's where there's opportunities to gain here, to that limited number, and it is limited, of people that just will not listen and
let me just jump in here.
Firearms.
Let me jump in here, because are you talking about on the flip side in the court system? Because my question is, are the tactics working when you look at the numbers and 40% of those accused of a shooting have a past gun possession and then they're back on the streets again? How do you address that?
Yeah. Well, Dan, I'll throw it back to you and say that the last 3 years prior to this year, we had driven incarceration down and driven shootings down under 800 a year. Never been done before. We know how to keep New York safe. We know how to police New York City. Certainly, we're always evolving, as we have to. Society around us is evolving, laws are evolving, everything is evolving. We are. But when you look at what's happening right now with gang violence, particularly in parts of small neighborhoods in the city, we're doing a lot of things. We're doing outreach. We're trying to keep people from entering gangs. We're doing cases on gangs that are, unfortunately, people that are resistant. We're working with people in the community to have credible messengers and voices other than law enforcement in case they are more receptive to them. And we're out there taking guns off the street. We're doing all of that. But to have a one-sided conversation, I would say, and to ignore the largest problem that we're facing, people are missing the boat here.
Yeah.
You can't identify and take guns out of the hands of violent people that want to use those guns and not have consequences. And that is by far the largest problem that we're facing.
We have talked about that a number of times, sir. And courts are closed once again because the coronavirus cases are spiking. I want to get your take on safety, specifically around the holidays, because that's on top of everybody's mind, not only in terms of crime, but coronavirus. Have there been any issues with people not obeying the 5-minute rule over at the Rockefeller Tree and keeping things moving?
I was there myself on Sunday. I walked quite a way. It was a rainy day Saturday. It was a beautiful day Sunday. I got out. I walked probably a couple miles on Fifth Avenue, actually. Beautiful day, a little cold. Not crowded at all. That was Sunday early afternoon. I actually stopped at the tree. I saw a number of officers there, not big crowds. I saw some of a video in particular that was brought up. It's something that we have to continue to monitor.
Any tickets issued?
In place at the tree. I'm sorry?
Any tickets issued at the tree for not obeying the rules?
That I don't know. I wouldn't expect it, frankly. We're looking for, if there are people, just keep them moving between the security that's there, the ticket process. There are counterterrorism officers and other officers there. It's going to be continue to be, Dan, something that we have to stay on top of, because as you know, that's a magnet for people.
Yeah,
so
of course.
We'll be on it. It's certainly much less people than I've seen in prior years, but it's going to be something that continues to draw people.
Any news we can make on the
good
plans?
news is it's outside.
Yes, exactly. Any plans for New Year's Eve? Will that also be a ticketed event? How do you ensure that people will not go to Times Square and pack in like they normally do?
I think you have to, and plans, things have to be finalized. So, but you have to expect in this year more of the same in terms of what we've been seeing. Think of the Thanksgiving Day parade that really was a great effort by Macy's to put on and carry on the tradition, but it's just a different year all around. So that's rapidly approaching. The vaccines are on the horizon here, but that's not going to be here within the next 3 weeks in terms of having a substantial effect, obviously. So in terms of New Year's Eve, start making alternate plans. Start planning for a nice, small event at your house, preferably the smaller the better, and we'll see you next year.
And you brought that up, for, the crowd size, right? I want to stay on this topic for a second. Are you currently enforcing large gatherings? Because we're seeing the spread, we're hearing it from the governor and the mayor, that spread is happening from gatherings inside people's homes. We saw that bar on Staten Island in particular that has not shut down a number of times. What's your role in that?
Yeah, I think you see, Dan, when you look, as you said, I think you hit it on the head. But the other thing that you mentioned is most of this, the latest data, if you listen to the experts, is this is happening behind closed doors in people's houses. This is flu season, right? And all of this, I mean, we have a role in this, and any time that we're getting called and large crowds, we continue to respond, inform the public, break these events up where appropriate. But we're also balancing the rights of the public. We're balancing protests that are still going on to a very, very lesser degree. And we're going to continue to do all these things as we also, Dan, deal with that crime issue that's also out there.
Understood. And I want to squeeze in two more topics here. Thursday's a big day. You alluded to the vaccine coming. Pfizer could get this emergency use authorization. Have there been discussions on NYPD being on the front lines, getting the vaccine first, and would they take it?
Well, I have not heard of the NYPD getting it first. In terms of would we take it, I'll speak for myself. I'll roll up my sleeve right now and take it just to get past this process. But I anticipate at some point soon, we're beginning talks now, vaccines rolling out. I think those details have to be worked out in terms of healthcare workers, obviously, front and center. You've heard the elderly mentioned. I'm sure that we're going to be not far behind that. And us and other essential workers, and I anticipate a large number of members of the NYPD will be eagerly awaiting this vaccine.
Understood. And Commissioner, lastly, this is a bit of a sad news. Former NYPD lawyer Larry Byrne passed away suddenly, a man who joined the force in part because of his own brother, Eddie Byrne, who was killed in the line of duty. I want to give you the final word here.
Thank you so much for bringing up Larry. And I met Larry in 2014. What a nice man. He was so much. He was a tremendous attorney. He was an advocate for all the people of New York City, I would say. And what the Byrne family had to shoulder over the last 32 years with the tragic loss of Larry's brother Eddie in 1988. It's just a real, I could tell you, it's just a real sad day for the NYPD, a sad weekend for us when we learned of what happened to Larry, and it's just, we'll honor him and continue to honor him and continue to fight for everything that Larry fought for. It's just a sad day all around.
He was well known within the department. He was also well known by a number of journalists, and he was well respected all around New York. Commissioner Shea, I do appreciate your time this morning on all of these topics. If I don't speak to you, have a happy and safe holiday.
Thank you, Dan. You as well.
Thank you very much for joining us.